right, guys, welcome to the rundown. Today is February 1st. Very important month here of February, shortest month of the year, but it's going to be a lot of good content out of us, of course. Before I get into any of the topics today, I want to go ahead and shout out Mango RX. It's your premier telehealth platform providing free doctor visits for a seamless healthcare experience, and it's 100% online. No one wants to go to the doctors, guys. Explore innovative treatments and unique formulas that redefine how you approach your healthcare. Trust in the expertise of our board-certified physicians when purchasing any of our products. Mango RX combines hard science with innovation, ensuring the highest standards in healthcare solutions. Start your free 100% online consultation today and begin your journey to better health with Mango RX. I don't know about you guys, but it sounds pretty fun. Mangoes, I like mangoes. And not having to go to the doctor. Who likes going to the doctor? Not me. First topic of today, rundown, obviously, February 1. We'll get through this, guys. We all just figured out we were doing this, so it doesn't really matter anyway. Purdue versus Northwestern, and got to talk about the officiating. Apparently Purdue, who is ranked number 2 right now in the country, you know, Zach Edey just eating up everything, beat Northwestern in OT 105-96. And apparently during the game, Purdue shot 46 free throws to Northwestern's 8. Northwestern's coach, Chris Collins, was ejected for running on the court and yelling at the refs during the game. Titus, what do you think about this game? Why do you think Purdue had to take Northwestern into OT? Did you watch it? You got to tell us as the D1 expert here.
Yeah, Purdue went to overtime because Northwestern was making everything. It was a very fun game. A lot of crazy shots from Northwestern that weren't going to go in, obviously, and then they did go in, and you're like, how the hell did that happen? Very exciting, but the highlight of the night was Chris Collins getting ejected when the game was basically over. There was I thought the game was over. There was a second or so left. Great ejection. Runs out onto the floor, screaming at the ref. As he's walking off, he still goes over and shakes hands with Purdue, which I thought was classy. It was a nice juxtaposition of a man losing his mind while at the same time having his wits about him to have some sportsmanship. So
phenomenal use of juxtaposition.
Did I use that correctly?
Yeah, well done.
Yeah. So yeah, that was it. The big talking point though is the free throw discrepancy.
I mean, 46.
Yeah. How does it make you feel? You obviously weren't tuned in super closely, but the idea of a basketball game happened and it was 46-8 free throws. I
had a lot of other games. I did not take this one because it was a little stinky in my opinion as far as betting goes. But not hitting your free throws, that's a big deal. And looks like Purdue was hitting all of theirs, which obviously is important. And I don't know if they hit them all, why it took them to overtime to take care of Northwestern. But as you said, you watched the game. Northwestern was making crazy shots. They were falling from everywhere. But Purdue, in the end, number 2, wins over Northwestern. And shout out to Chris Collins. Again, he was ejected, but also classy while doing so.
Chaps, word association, Purdue basketball. Go.
Don't care about it.
Yeah, pretty good. That's there you go.
And that's from our we have a D1 athlete and
I had no idea they were
recipient.
even ranked. Sounds like a good program, though. You're on the team and your coach intentionally gets thrown out, you're gassed up, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it depends on the context. If it's like a 2-point game and there was a minute left and he did this, I'd be pretty pissed that you kind of fucked our chance of winning.
Yeah.
You know, now you're giving them free throws, the ball, all that sort of thing. But this was over. It was already over. So I'm sure in the locker room they were like, that was pretty awesome, coach.
Yeah.
Chaps, let's bring it down to your part of the country, or former part of the country. We're going to Texas.
Okay.
The TCU-Texas game, TCU is donating 500 Horns Down T-shirts to the student section. This will be the last time these two play as Big 12 opponents. What do you think this game is going to be like? Will TCU allow this to happen, or do you think the shirts will be removed?
I think they should allow it to happen. The Horns Down thing is the biggest pussy shit.
I agree. It's just this.
For a state that's supposed to be
Can't do that, Megan. We have to stop.
Yeah, we're gonna have to blur that out.
What about this?
We're gonna have to stop that and reshoot this.
Everybody says it's the toughest state. Can't handle a little hand signal. Grow up. And the head coach, basically crying about it earlier this year. The biggest mistake. Because now it's happening all
I feel like there's an alternate timeline where Horns Down is actually the lamest shit ever, and everyone stopped doing it already because it was just lame. And the only reason we do it I'm saying like the rest of the world.
The
It's not
United States.
Yeah, the United States. It's not Texas. The only reason they do it is because it pisses Texas off so much.
Right. If they just
But
shut up and stop.
Yeah, if they just like didn't care, somewhere along the line, everyone would have been like, "That's not really that
not
interesting."
it's not that bad.
Yeah, very stupid by them.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but I like it. I like the rivalry building there between TCU and Texas, with it being their last Big 12 matchup.
I don't think they're gonna take the shirts off. I think so. BYU played Texas and they had horns down shirts. They made them change the shirts because it's offensive apparently or whatever.
Well, that's what the Mormons are doing.
Yeah,
Not,
but exactly. BYU
not
is
the crazy frogs.
Yeah,
The horny
BYU is like way too polite, but TCU, they have history with Texas, obviously. That's more of a natural rivalry, so I see them saying, fuck that.
I'm excited
Let's
for
wear the
this
shirts.
matchup. I'll actually watch this one. Purdue Northwestern didn't interest me,
Yeah.
although I kind of am having some FOMO looking at what happened. But let's go ahead. Let's move on to the NBA. Tony Snell has until tomorrow to sign an NBA contract to qualify for benefits. So just to read into a little bit more, he needs to sign this contract by tomorrow in order to compile a 10th year of service for the Players Association Retiree Benefit Program. Tony Snell says this plan is crucial for his family, including his 2 sons with autism. Says it's something he truly needs for his family and well-being. He is currently playing in the G League, Maine Celtics. Tony Snell's total career earnings are only $55 million.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think about this? Obviously, there's some pressure put on everyone, and he's also throwing out there that it would mean a lot to his family, pulling on some heartstrings. What do you guys make about this?
I mean, I think the natural inclination when you hear somebody made $55 million is like, you don't need a GoFundMe, dude. Like, you have plenty of money. But the insurance piece, we don't know, like, how far on the spectrum his kids are, like, and what kind of care that they're really going to need long term. But it seems like a no-brainer for an NBA team that needs somebody with a 10-day contract. You come into a 10-day contract, you get all kinds of great publicity.
Great PR
I
move,
mean,
yeah.
it's a easy win for a team that might be struggling, like something to focus in on. You get a big round of applause for a team that stinks.
Especially if you're a piece of shit owner out there
Yeah.
that your fans hate you.
Bring back Donald Sterling.
Yeah. This is an easy opportunity to be like, if I'm such a piece of shit, then how come I did this? And you just keep pointing to this over and over.
Yeah.
Never mind the
Sexual
decades worth.
assault.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
did you forget about Tony
Right.
Snell?
Right. Yeah. How could I?
It's 2047. That was a long time ago.
Yeah. No, I hope it works out for him. It does. It is a headline that feels very bizarre, and I don't know how I would handle it if I was in that position, because you do want to put together your best basketball team, and if you feel like he's not good enough to help the team, then maybe you don't do that. But also at the same time, there are a lot of guys.
Right?
Yeah, you can throw him a bone.
Yeah, that's what I was
For
thinking.
10 days?
Yeah, that's not a big deal.
Just help him out. you
Right.
know?
Find a team that has like 3 games over the next 10 days, put them in.
Right, and a lot of these teams are obviously, I mean, there's a lot of basketball left, but there are a lot of teams that are like, we're fucked this year and we're obviously not good.
Throw them on Detroit.
Yeah, Detroit is
Throw
one of
them
the
on Detroit.
examples.
Anything else to add to Tony Snell, guys? Before we move on?
All-time great Club Trillion member, Tony Snell. A lot of basketball played where he would do nothing while he was on the court, and
Was
he
it
and I
the
are alike
perfect
in that.
game, like no rebounds?
Yeah,
Like,
that's
he's
Tony
that guy,
Snell.
right?
Yeah.
Well, before we move on to our third-ish topic, I want to talk to you guys about Steven Singer Jewelers. It's time to start talking about our friend Steven Singer from Steven Singer Jewelers. The I Hate Steven Singer guy, you've seen his billboards or heard him on the radio, but who hates him? Well, the other jewelers. Why? Because Steven has a #1 for Valentine's Day. Wait, let me redo that. Why? Because Steven has the #1 gift for Valentine's Day, and we're excited to tell you about it. Picture it, a real long stem American beauty rose, lavishly and deeply dipped in what? Pure 24 karat gold that's guaranteed to last forever. You heard that right, forever. And they start at just $59. His beautiful Valentine's Day rose won't wilt or die. It doesn't even need water. This is the #1 gift, something unique, special, and that lasts forever. They come with your own personalized love message and Steven's signature gift box shipped for free. This is a great gift, honestly. I don't know about you guys. I don't know if y'all have shopped for Valentine's Day yet for your wife's, fiancé's, girlfriends. But I feel like I would love a rose that lasts forever, and especially if the personal message was something kind of silly and funny that I would enjoy to read every day.
Yeah, I'm gonna get all 3 of them roses. My wife, my fiance, and my girlfriend.
I think that's I think they'll love it. This will be a hit amongst all the women.
Yeah.
Chaps, are you planning on getting a 24 karat dipped gold rose for the
No, I'm just
love?
going to be a voyeur when Mark does his. That'd be great. That'd be awesome. Can't wait.
Well, I would love them, so make sure you check out Steven Singer's Jewelers and get your 24 karat dipped rose. It's beautiful. It'll last forever, guys. Let's go on to the next topic on the rundown, which is ex-senior Boeing manager warns flyers to avoid flying in Boeing's MAX jets. Boeing planes have been...
what?
Yeah.
The Boeing guys saying don't fly on Boeing?
Ex-Boeing guy.
Let me read so you can know a little bit more about it. Boeing planes have been having problems lately, and an emergency exit door got ripped off mid-flight.
That's right.
Another plane has its engine catch on fire. Boeing has recalled and is running inspections on a bunch of their planes. Ex-Boeing manager says, "I would absolutely not fly a MAX airplane. I've worked in the factory where they were, this is wrongly quoted, but I worked in the factory where they were built, and I saw the pressure employees were under and the rush the planes out the door. I would tell my family to avoid MAX." So yeah, essentially these airplanes are just being put together super fast, like at Amazon, and being just shipped out the door. And the guy's saying, "I've watched it, I've seen it. No one's really taking their time. Don't fly these things."
Guy's a genius. You know, he has a bunch of stock options. If he used to be a higher up there, gonna make the stock crash. He's gonna buy low, and then it's gonna go up when people don't realize.
Is that what you think?
Yeah, but also hearing that story after watching Masters of the Air, how can those planes not stay in the air? Like in 1940s, those things were like you could fly a plane whenever a quarter of it was gone.
Yeah.
And now you can't.
Is that accurate?
Yeah, like whenever they were flying over Germany and France, whenever they would have B-17s that were completely like destroyed in a lot of ways, and they would stay in the air somehow.
Interesting. So have the planes changed, or has the air changed?
I think planes are kind of like washer machines from the 1940s, where they
They're just indestructible.
Yeah, you couldn't mess them up, but now everything breaks.
Isn't like every plane a Boeing?
That I don't know.
I thought they had like kind of a monopoly.
No, there's isn't Airbus one?
Oh, Airbus is different than Boeing. I thought it was a
so.
Boeing Airbus.
I always just thought it was like a
Lockheed
Boeing
Martin.
Lockheed Martin.
747 or whatever. I don't know much. I thought everything was Boeing.
Follow-up question.
As long as it's big.
He says don't fly on a Boeing. When you're booking a flight,
Yeah, it does.
it does say, but how often do you actually look and be like, oh, this is a Boeing? I can't.
Never
This is
looked.
going to get me to my destination at the perfect time, but unfortunately that's a Boeing, so I'm not going to fly it.
I think the only time I've ever looked is when you're going like a long distance, like to Hawaii.
Yeah.
And you want to know first class or business class, like how big it's going to be.
Right.
Do you really need first class or business class?
Yeah.
And then I just go to coach. So.
This feels like a boycott, if you want to call it that I would have for like 10 minutes, and then I'd be like, if I'm not flying Boeing, like that leaves me very few flights.
I'll never boycott anything.
Yeah.
Ever. I mean, no matter how much I disagree with the political stance of a company, if I wanted a My Pillow, I'd buy one.
I think I'm way too lazy to boycott anything.
Yeah.
If
and
I like
everything's
it, I like
connected.
it.
Who cares?
Yeah, I would agree with that. But I mean, engines catching on fire, doors ripping off. What would be the first? I'll ask you this question, chaps. If a door flew off of the airplane and you were on it, you've been to war. What would be the first thing you do?
Cry.
Oh, not
cry.
me. I would.
Immediately weep.
I'm thinking through, Megan. I honestly think I would just save the fucking day. I think that's what I would do.
Mark Wahlberg it?
Yeah, I would just save everybody. Land the plane if that's what it calls for. I would grab the door as it's flying away, put it back on, and save the day probably.
Damn.
Good question, Megan.
Yeah, I don't see you doing that.
pretty
We'll
good.
pretend. We'll pretend. I definitely.
Good for you.
Maybe you guys should switch. Maybe
go-
this
I
is
want to
the
fly with Mark.
D1 athlete and Purple Heart recipient.
That's
we'll just
exactly
switch
right.
that up.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on to the last topic we have here, which is something that I feel like could and would happen to me. Brazilian man shot in head and continued to party 4 days with bullet in brain. A 21-year-old Brazilian man just stunned to find a bullet in his head days after a New Year's Eve party. First off, how are you stunned to find a bullet in your head? We'll ask that question to you in a second. He was reportedly partying at a beach in Rio de Janeiro when he felt an object hit his head. His head bled temporarily but quickly stopped. He continued partying for 4 days. A long time to party.
It is.
and it wasn't until the end when he arrived home that in his arms started feeling silly and couldn't pick up objects. He then went to the hospital where they discovered he'd been shot in the head. One, guys, we're just going to go ahead and say this guy has to be on some extracurricular party activities if he's up for 4 days with a bullet in his head partying, right?
Yep, in a big way.
In a big way. I mean, his nose might be collapsing after that weekend. How do you think you would react if you got a bullet to the head, chaps?
I think I would die.
I think the majority of people would.
People die, yeah. It has to be like the airsoft gun. Like, I don't know what gun you could get shot, maybe a pellet gun. 20 possibly, like something
I was under the
really
impression
small.
you get shot in the head, that's over.
Do you think it was more of like a ricochet bullet? Or do you think maybe like it
Didn't
was
they
like
pull it out? Yeah, it could have been a ricochet for sure.
if he didn't feel it like right away, you know, I feel like you feel it, you know, if you get shot in the head, you feel it or you die.
Yeah, I don't know how you.
There's got to be something about the story that is not what I'm picturing in my head, because I am picturing just a guy just bullet through the skull into his brain,
right.
Just having a great
having a
time.
great time, and then he's like,
peeling
oh,
it
that
out.
was, yeah.
Like how far? You don't have a lot of meat in your head that it could be stuck in.
I would have liked a little more context on
Is
this.
it more like his neck? Was it more like, and they called it the
It
head?
just said man
has
shot in
What,
head.
hair.
Yeah.
Could have been really thick. Could have been wearing like a beanie. You know. Could have. I don't know what stops a bullet, even if it.
I really want to know what kind of bullet it was.
Even
it
if-
had to be something crazy small.
Even if a ricochet shot. I mean, I would assume that's a pretty hard
Ricochet
shot.
shots can be more dangerous because the round can start spinning. Like the projectile can start spinning. It could mess you up even more.
Do you know of any instances of guys that were shot and didn't realize it in the military? Like,
In
is
the
that-
moment, yeah.
Yeah,
Like
like
I didn't realize it in the
Oh,
moment.
really?
Yeah,
What did it
like,
feel like in the moment?
It felt like a brick had kind of came off the wall. It's really blunt. So I tell people the feeling is kind of like if you're in a tee box. Everywhere you get shots different, but like if you're in a tee box and somebody just smacks a golf ball into you, it's like a really blunt pain. And then I looked down and I was like, oh shit,
I'm
not
bleeding.
great. Ow!
Yeah, I would assume that he's drinking a lot of tequila, doing a lot of.
I think methamphetamines.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
some crank. I don't know. Something that's keeping him up for 4 days and keeping him not in the right headspace, if you will.
The other problem with him partying is that this story is so funny / awesome that I think the police seem to just have no interest in finding who shot. Why were you shot in the head in the first place?
It's real.
like,
They
you know
don't give a
what I mean?
shit.
Yeah.
Brazil's fucking wild.
Yeah.
And it's not even Carnival. I mean,
Yeah.
people are walking around like in their throats in Carnival.
Oh, yikes.
Not really. Getting shot in the throat, probably worse than the head.
Probably because you just bleed out instantly, right? This
More
is getting
painful,
a little
yeah.
morbid. All right. Do you guys have any other anything else to say about the man that was shot in the head? Because I mean,
I
there.
want to party with that dude.
Yeah, that seems awesome.
and
Bring him
how-
to River North.
no one can probably top that story. Like all of his friends, like will be like, "Man, did you know what happened to me this weekend?" And he's probably gonna be like, "Well, I got shot in the head and partied for 4 days."
He'll
And
probably get a podcast and talk about it.
never gonna shut up about
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then every time he does, just be like, I don't know if I've shared this story before. I was shot in the head.
Repeated.
Like, really?
But it's a fantastic excuse for everything for the rest of your
Yeah.
life.
Like, can you do the dishes? No, sorry, my
No.
head's
Yeah.
Yeesh, a little bit.
Or yeah, anytime you
Take the
have like
trash
a
out.
stupid moment, you say the wrong word or
I'm
your
sorry,
math
I
is
got
a little
shot
off.
in the
Fucking head, dude. Get off my back.
I'm not saying that I'm a little jealous, but maybe I'm a little jealous.
Also, shout out to the dude that went hunting with Dick Cheney.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Shot in the face.
Shot in the face.
Yeah. With a
the-
shotgun.
Is the head.
Yeah.
That counts.
Counts.
It all
Maybe
counts.
that's it.
He was just shot in the face.
Could be face. Because
Yeah.
face is, last I checked, face is part of the head.
I feel like if he was shot in the face, though, for like after that 4 days that he's up and partying, someone's got to be like, "Man, something's in your face."
But what if he thought he got, like, what if it was in the cheek
Grazed?
and he thought that he got punched in the eye and it was a black eye and it was just
Yeah.
a nasty black eye?
I don't know.
I think
feel like
face is probably more likely
Face.
than head.
Yeah, I want to know so much more
In the
about
cheek.
it.
We're
Meat?
gonna find out
Yeah.
more about this. We will.
Also, who shot him? That's another thing about the
They,
story.
Chas
doesn't
was
matter.
saying, Rio de
Rio.
Janeiro.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
crazy. No one's.
Who gives a fuck about who shot him? We want to.
He's alive and he's having a
important
great
information.
time.
Right.
He's probably gonna have like a shrine down there in Brazil. Everyone's gonna come see him, like the pictures of the Blessed Mother that show up on Sweat, or like you see all like
Oh,
the Jesus
yeah.
pieces that
A
like
stigmata situation.
yeah, exactly. Good with the words today. All right, that's the rundown. I will say next week it's going to be not live. It will be in Las Vegas for the Super
Vegas.
Bowl.
Yep.
And I would assume that it would be a nice cast. I would have a feeling that all the top dogs will be out there, and it'll be a great rundown. But that's it from us. Shout out to Steven Singer's Jeweler and Mango RX. And thanks for watching, and thanks for hanging out, Titus and Chaps.
Cool.